30 seconds. Well, hello everybody. Yeah, welcome back for I guess our seventh episode of our Concessions and Confession podcast. I am Steven.
Lucas here.
And I guess just we're gonna get started off with some brief industry stuff, maybe a little bit of news, anything interesting come out this last weekend.
I think the news that I think a lot of people are having discussions about Steven Spielberg. Did you hear about this? How
No,
he's there's going to be a board of the Academy, and Steven Spielberg has set out that Netflix has no more nominations this next year. Basically, he says that he hates that Netflix is getting nominated for as a film. He says that those are TV movies and they don't belong in the Oscars. What do you think about this?
what?
Yeah,
What is that? Is absurd.
you think so?
Because they have to put the movies in theaters that they
And they
nominate.
do.
Yeah, like because that's what the Academy demands. So, I mean, I don't understand how. Like in a weird way, I think you should even be able to nominate TV movies if the TV studio wants to put that in a theater.
Yeah,
If, like
like a lot of the arguments for like people who supported Steven Spielberg is like, well, yeah, because HBO movies don't get nominated for Oscars, they get nominated for Emmys, but like
they don't put
movies
them in
don't.
theaters.
Yeah, they're not released on
Yeah,
theaters.
like I mean, Netflix is very aware of the way that they win awards because like they're
They
going by
won awards.
yeah
Yeah.
oh, they I think for them they see awards as like really good for their business.
Oh yeah. And prestige. I
Yeah,
feel like Netflix has always been seeking out prestige, being
yeah.
taken seriously.
I know we were talking a little bit earlier about like the term Netflix original and what it actually
Yeah.
means, but like I don't know why when I see Netflix original on something, I'm more inclined to click it than if it's just like it doesn't have that. I
Uh
don't know why.
huh.
I think they have actually trained me as a consumer to associate their name with things I like to
Quality.
watch or something like that,
Sure.
So
Okay.
not even quality, just like sometimes some of their shows, I'm trying to think like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I think it's a pretty fun show and I like it a lot. I haven't seen the last little part that they released. Like I guess it's like the next half of the last season or something. But I like that show. It's fun. It's great. I had a good time with it. I just kind of clicked it at random because I saw Netflix. Give it
Mm-hmm.
a shot, and pleasantly surprised, and I had a lot of fun with it. But that's I think that's absurd to not nominate anything from
Well,
Netflix.
especially after releasing something like Roma,
Yeah.
like that's just
And
how
his freaking
you know.
buddy over here, Scorsese is about to be
Yeah,
releasing
Irish.
The Irishman. So like, what the heck?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully that won't stand because I actually like that Netflix is getting bigger and bigger
Me
names to
too.
work with all the time.
It's good for
It's
us.
good for everyone.
Yeah, like I mean, I I don't understand how it could be bad for or the Academy or anything like that because I mean, yeah, you hear the word Netflix thrown around a lot at the awards, but I mean, I like being able to just see something that won an award and be like, "Oh, I can just watch that literally right
On
now."
Netflix,
Yeah,
yeah.
anywhere I want. So,
And if you're a cinema purist, you still get to see it on theaters if you live in LA, New York, or any
yeah.
major area that may have a screening.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel it sounds very old timey, you know?
It sounds very just mean, honestly. I don't know. It seems cuz if I saw Roma on in theater, I think I would have been pretty blown away. But like watching it on Netflix for a Netflix movie, that movie's incredible. It's
You go ahead.
I don't know what you're saying, but like just it's so good. It's I don't know, but I think anything that you want to be able to put in theater should be nominated for an Academy Award. Like I don't. It just seems so close-minded, but I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't even hear about that, but
It was big news, yeah.
there was a couple of big trailers over the weekend. There was the second Shazam trailer. There
I haven't seen
was
it.
it's pretty fun. I think it looks good. There's the Dark Phoenix trailer.
I was telling Steven how I think the makeup on Jennifer Lawrence every time it just gets lazier and lazier. Well, I don't want to put down on makeup artists, but what I mean is like,
It looks. I don't know if it looks. In my opinion, I don't know if it looks lazier. It looks worse. Like whatever they did,
it
it
looks
doesn't look
worse.
cool. Yeah, like she looked better in First Class and in Apocalypse, but like she has this new like
well,
thing on her
in
forehead. I feel like.
Apocalypse, she was barely blue. That's the thing. Like every time, I feel like she wants. Well, Jennifer Lawrence probably doesn't want to spend hours and hours on a makeup chair. Um, so this time it was like really simple, like just like blue skin and minimal scales. But if you look at like First Class or Days of Future Past, like the scales are actually really intricate, really good costume.
I feel like she has some scales on her forehead. Like her
But
main thing
only
is her
her
forehead.
forehead.
Yeah,
In
like
the first two movies, it's basically all of her face.
yeah. I mean, but aside from that aspect of this movie, the trailer looks weird in that who's that one girl? She was in Zero Dark 30. She has the white hair and this, she's like the one who's talking to Jean Grey. She's the
Is it
older
Emma Frost or do you mean the actress?
the actress.
Don't remember.
The I don't know.
I think she's Emma Frost. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not super into the X-Men universe like with the comic books, but you know, this whole like Jean Grey is basically very similar to a character in Umbrella Academy, and like I think after seeing, I actually finished
Well,
Umbrella
which one
Academy.
came out first, bro?
Okay, no, I'm well aware, but like, okay, I'm well aware of that. But the thing is like, if you're gonna have, like, it's just relevant in my mind. I feel like that character in Umbrella Academy is going to be, it's just in the long term better than this young Jean Grey. Like, I don't know. These movies look so weird. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? I don't know what to do.
I feel the thing about
You
the
know?
X Men movies is they always feel like they need to go for world wrecking stakes. Like it's always the
Yeah.
world that's in peril. The only small X Men movie is
Logan.
basically the Wolverine movies. Like funny enough, like
Oh yeah.
Origins, it's kind of personal. The Wolverine
I did not see
personal.
the Wolverine.
Logan is really personal.
You know how they're always talking about like what movie should be what superhero movie should have been nominated for best picture or something like that. It
Dark
should have
Knight.
been Logan in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just like Logan I thought is
It's
I don't
good.
know.
Period.
At the end of the movie I turned over and looked at my friends and all of them were in tears and I was like, "Oh my god." Like but I don't know. It was just, you know, I think I'm not super excited for Dark Phoenix. I think it's going to be
I'm probably gonna watch it.
oh yeah, I'll
Anyways.
watch it. You know, what else am I gonna do that weekend? I'm sure. Wait, unless it comes out, I don't even know what comes out, but I'll look that up. But also, the Game of Thrones season
Eight?
6 trailer.
I thought it was 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah, because last season was 7,
You know
and
what?
this is 7 part 2.
That would make sense because 8 does come after 7. Um, but yeah, I mean that one looks pretty good. I am very, very, very like my expectations are at all time high for a TV show. Like never, they took 2 years to make this season, and every episode is at least an hour and a half long. And I think every episode had a minimum budget of $10 million. I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And I think,
Really?
yeah,
I thought there was like even bigger budget.
I
Like,
think they
that's
might have 10 to
surprising.
15 million. I think the most expensive episode was like 25 million.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then I think the longest episode of the season will be 2 hours long. So literally 1 week we're gonna get a movie,
Yeah.
and I'm so excited. I can't wait. The trailer, I shouldn't have
Hopefully it
watched
doesn't
it.
suck.
I swear to God, it's gonna suck. But like I don't know how to not be excited for it after you make me wait like 2 years. It's like whenever Disney first bought Star Wars in my like freshman year of high school, and
Yeah.
like it took till my senior year for them to release a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just years waiting and waiting and waiting. And like when you first see the first teaser trailer for Force Awakens, my mind was just like, oh my God, you know, like
We
every
all know how that ended up.
okay, we know how it ended up, but like before, there was a good time where I was excited, I was hyped. As a Star Wars fan, I was like just, you know, I was ready, you know, I was there. But, you know, this Game of Thrones, they have the hype, they have the time that it took to make it, so I'm assuming it's gonna be at least decent, you know?
I mean, it's probably gonna look gorgeous.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna be losing my mind. I think every week I'm gonna have a party, by the way. If we want, we can even do like a Game of Thrones weekly
I'll have
episode
to
thing.
watch 7 seasons. in order to attend these parties.
Well, you should do that then.
Maybe. I mean, spring break's coming.
You couldn't watch it in spring break, I don't think. Well, maybe you could.
I mean, if I'm just like obsessively binging, doing nothing
Each
else,
episode
maybe.
is an hour long,
I
and
know, I
then
know.
so like
It's like 60 episodes. It doesn't
mm,
matter. It's more than
it's a
60
lot.
probably.
It's
Yeah.
like 66, I think.
Yeah.
Either
So
way, also sorry for that long S sound, everyone, but whatever. So I guess we could get on. We could move on to our next segment of the show where we talk about the one thing we watched together. This week we watched Peaky Blinders on Netflix,
yeah, BBC production. So
Netflix original.
everywhere else it's BBC, but if you watch this on America, it says Netflix original. But I mean, that was the discussion we had. It's like what actually counts as a Netflix original and what doesn't.
I think if
But
they pay money in the production phase,
no, they don't pay money in the
that's yeah,
production
that's
phase.
what I'm. I think if it's their production, then I think it's their show. But they
Well,
just
they're
own
just
the rights.
distributing. So,
Yeah, so it's
well,
not
okay.
really
Peaky
okay. Yeah,
Blinders. It's about the Shelby family in Birmingham who run the gang known as the Peaky Blinders, and they rule Birmingham basically. They're the lead gang, but everything changes when Mr.
when
Churchill,
the Fire Nation
like
came.
Winston Churchill,
Yeah.
actually, some guns go missing, and we find out it was actually the leader of the Peaky Blinders. Well, the secret leader of the Peaky Blinders, the middle son, Tom, and basically, when the guns go missing, Churchill sends Inspector Campbell, who is like really uptight, and he's supposed to put Birmingham back in order, and find the guns. That's what he's got to do. And the comeuppance that happened with the other gangs, the police force, and communists.
I love they're just communists.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're not like a gang or anything. They're
No,
just
they're just communists.
yeah,
Well, I feel like the fact that it's a big deal is like because they don't believe in a lot
the
of stuff.
monarchy or something. I
Exactly.
guess.
Yeah. So like they're
Yeah.
kind of a threat for the monarchy. But so Stephen, what do you want to talk about when it
Okay.
comes to Peaky
I
Blinders?
must make a confession, but uh, I did not finish episode 2. I'm about halfway done with it, or maybe like a quarter. I think a quarter of the way actually. And I'm. It's not that I'm not enjoying it. I think I want to get to the things I like. The acting is pretty solid.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Sam Neill is actually pretty good as the
yeah,
Inspector Campbell.
yeah.
And I
Which I
mean,
did not expect because I thought the accent would be too much for him
uh huh.
because he's American,
No,
right?
I thought he was Australian or something.
What?
Or actually, he may be British. I don't recall. He's not American.
But is he really?
I'm pretty sure.
I've never seen him in anything but American movies.
I don't know.
This is gonna blow my mind if he's not American. But he's great. I think the main guy, the main Shelby guy, is pretty good.
Cillian Murphy. I
Just
think
gonna
is
call
his
him
name.
Scarecrow, or Tom. I think his name is Tom.
Thomas. Yeah.
Tom Shelby, whatever. Thomas Shelby. He's pretty good. I don't. I'm not crazy about the youngest brother. I guess.
He's barely on it. Honestly,
Yeah.
he's kind of a background character.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they do an interesting thing where the the extras, the amount of extras they have in the like every shot or whatever is it feels kind of limited.
Okay.
Like it doesn't feel like the scope is really there sometimes.
Really.
Like there's a scene in the bar where they have like I think as many people as they do at another scene where the police are raiding homes. Uh, like
I didn't notice that.
it,
Interesting.
for me, I don't know why. When I look at period pieces, one thing I look at in particular is how much extras they have. How like what is the like a level of population that they put in this world on screen, and like there's some shots in Game of Thrones where there's like 100 plus extras, like just in one shot, and like so it feels super big and like lived in. And this one, I feel like I don't think they had enough really in certain shots. And some it felt like they had the right amount. Like I said in the bar. I don't know. The show kind of feels like it right now. I think production wise, it feels like a period piece being shot today.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't feel like I haven't been like blended into it. Like I feel like Mad Men is another show that I think is kind of smart because you don't really see the outside world that much.
No.
And when
Mhm.
you do,
It's
it
big.
feels no, it doesn't. It
Oh, it
doesn't.
doesn't?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why like 90% of their show I feel like is just in an office room, you know, or in some like they do a good job at restaurants because a lot of scenes take place in restaurants in that show, but like like you're not really on the street that much or anything, you know. Which I felt kind of sad because I know like England or I don't know, I guess Birmingham. I know it's a very heavily populated, like densely populated country, and like there's like 4 or 5 different soccer or football teams
Hmm.
in London alone. I think, and so it's like I was just kind of missing the like level of
I think now that you're
world building.
speaking of like immersion and
Yeah,
how the production build design helps with that,
yeah.
I was not that big on the music choices with the electric guitars and the
I
blues.
that was driving me crazy. I
Yeah.
was like, this is
I don't know if like
I don't know.
the White Stripes, like Jack White, produced this, or like if the creator just really likes the White Stripes. But like, there's a bunch of like White Stripes music and sound alike music.
Mm.
I personally didn't think it was blended that well. Usually, when I like when like I think of Scorsese when it comes to like using rock and roll in your feature, but
Yeah,
usually like Scorsese, it makes sense for the era, or at least like that Rolling Stones song that's coming on came out on '68 and the
yeah,
movie's on the '70s or whatever.
yeah.
So it's adequate.
It's not like when you're watching Silence and suddenly out of nowhere the Rolling Stones come in,
Yeah.
because he wouldn't do that. Because
Or even Tarantino, like Tarantino, I feel like he gets away with it a little bit more with
he
some.
has in Django, he has a
Mhm.
song by Rick Ross
Yeah.
called "100 Black Coffins," which I love that song actually.
And
It's
I thought it was actually well implemented,
me
like
too. It was
because it's
cool.
stylized.
Yeah,
I felt that the music implementation of in Peaky Blinders need to be a little more stylized
I
in order for it
completely
to
agree.
work.
Completely agree.
But I'm gonna move on to the positives. I'm getting big. Like, okay, when I finally got a sense of what's going on and the scope of it, I guess um, it feels a lot to me like The Godfather, or like I was just thinking Greek tragedy. Like this has no good place to go to. Like this is gonna be a
Yeah,
bloodbath. It's gonna be tragic. Uh, and I like the stepping stones that they're setting right now. Like I think Tom is interesting enough to like carry
he
the show, but I don't feel
he
like he
is very
needs to.
interesting. Well, like,
Yeah.
see, that's the reason why I feel bad about not finishing the second episode is because
Hmm.
of him. Like, I feel like I owe him
No, yeah,
like to
like
my
honestly,
attention.
where you told me you left off, what happens next is actually pretty interesting.
Mm,
There hasn't been any huge set piece yet.
yeah,
Right now, it's just like honestly, big kudos to the writers and the directors and everything because by the I want to say like 3/4 of a way in the first episode, I already got a sense of okay, who's who wants what, what's going on.
yeah.
Like, and it's a big cast. It's a very big
No,
cast.
no, yeah.
Um,
Like of central characters, there's. Oh my god.
Apologies, live streamers.
Yeah, we'll fix this for the audio version only. Tisk
Sorry.
tisk. Oh, I don't know. Basically, like, I think this show has a lot of character. Like, so Game of Thrones is a huge cast, and it took me like 5 seasons, I think, to really get everybody's names. So like that's one thing I'm worried about this show because there's like 5 seasons or something like that, right?
I think the fifth season is barely being released in the UK.
Okay,
Maybe there's only four on Netflix right now.
okay. So I don't know. And one thing that I'm also having trouble with is the way that they talk. Their accents are,
Subtitles are
yeah.
the way to go for
I need
me.
to have subtitles, and
You
God,
refuse to put
I
on
don't-
subtitles.
it's like if I'm listening to something that's in my own language, like I should hopefully not need them. But sometimes it's not even like that I need subtitles. I don't understand what they're saying. Like
Hmm.
if it's like a turn of phrase or like, you know, just like some kind of like sarcastic
Yeah.
like comment. I don't know if it like I don't get the insult or like I don't get the joke.
Speaking of insults, I like how they don't overuse the F word. Like honestly,
Oh, me too.
when I was like,
Yeah.
okay, they can curse and it's a British show, they're probably gonna throw the F bomb like every 3 seconds. Like a lot of people do. No, actually,
I
it's
think I've heard
pretty.
it like
Like
two or
they
three
only
times.
use it sporadically, and I think they use it in the right places.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's actually, I think, really nice.
yeah,
I
like
don't like the F word that
I
much.
feel like this show is very classy.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a few moments where they insult my intelligence. I'm
Mm.
gonna say in the first scene when they use the magic powder on the horse, and there's this little kid who says like, "They're putting a spell on it so it can win." It's like I could have figured that out myself. Like, there's a couple moments where they spoon feed you stuff that I was like, that's totally unnecessary. But
Yeah.
other than that, feels like very smartly written. Uh, we haven't even talked about the cinematography. I think at times it looks okay, at times it
Yeah.
looks really good.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's
it's
where I'm
never
at too.
garbage, which uh,
Yeah,
gotta give credit.
it's very fine. Like there's definitely some interesting like flashback shots or
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
I don't know if they use like a filter or if they film it with a different type of camera
Or
maybe or
light.
something. Or yeah, it's just they do some interesting stuff with the flashback sequences, I think.
I really like the staging overall. Like, there's some really cool staging in some scenes, like whether it be like five characters, and sometimes they hold on to a single shot. Uh, Honestly, one of my favorite shots comes on when Tom returns to the office, I guess, and he goes to talk with Arthur, his older brother, who is the kind of self-proclaimed leader, but he's not very smart. Uh,
He's only the leader because he's the
he's
oldest
oldest
male.
one, basically. Uh, and the way Tom is standing, his face is reflected on like a poster or something, and I don't know, like
I've
it just
noticed that a couple of times where they use reflections.
yeah, yeah. The use of reflections here is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Like I can tell that the staging and the camera work was really planned through, and I
yeah,
can really appreciate that.
yeah.
Um, and well, I guess I didn't say this, but I actually started watching episode 3. Like I was intrigued enough. It's just like I feel this feels too much like a Greek tragedy to me.
Mm.
That it's just like the kind of stories I adore. Like even like the misfortune, I feel it's gonna be caused by the our central character Tom,
Oh,
which is
100%.
yeah.
They even
So
foreshadow it in the first episode with like the mom telling him like, "Are you sure you want to get into this or
you
whatever?"
mean the
That's his aunt.
Aunt Polly? Yeah.
Okay, well, see, this is how much I already know about the characters. I don't know what their relation is. I thought that was their mom.
Yeah, the
Whatever.
mom's dead, and
The
both parents. Are, well, which going back to the reflection is just
yeah,
like they're telling Tom that he's kind of like his father too aggressive and his mother too, you know, Machiavellian, I guess, or like even too thoughtful. And it's like there's like two natures fighting inside of him: the soldier and the family man. So I
that's a
don't know.
lot like
The
Jack.
Godfather.
Well, also Jax from Sons of Anarchy. He's he's a very interesting character like that as well. It's leader of a
Yeah, yeah.
gang. You know, actually, they're very similar shows. Now that I think about it.
Well, Sons of Anarchy is
A motorcycle
no,
gang.
I know, but like it's based on a Shakespeare play, but like they just changed it to Motorcycle Gang.
I
I don't
think
remember the Shakespeare play.
it's not Hamlet, is it?
Don't think so.
It's
I mean, is there an
wait,
uncle?
what's
I
the?
haven't seen Sons of Anarchy. I just remember.
There is kind of an uncle.
So maybe it is Hamlet. I don't remember. I just remember hearing that it's Shakespeare, but with motor gangs. But going back to Peaky Blinders, who would I recommend this to? People craving for like a quality series when it comes to a lot of aspects, be it the cinematography, the acting. I feel the storytelling is pretty fine. Uh,
I think it will get better. Like I have a lot of really good feelings about this show, and I need to
I
like
also
give it a
like
better
well, people
shot.
who like miniseries. I feel like if you like
Yeah.
BBC's Sherlock, which it's honestly a
Uh,
lot of people had like based on the fourth season. A lot of people are like, no, I don't like Sherlock anymore. But
that
I don't
fourth
know if
season
you ever
though.
enjoy Sherlock or any other BBC show. I feel like this is for you. But if you've never seen any BBC show, uh, maybe this one may be worth a try. But think of it as something British in the sense like, oh, I gotta kind of put on subtitles or think a lot.
Yeah, it's not made for you, America.
I guess. How
So
about you? Who
uh,
would you recommend this to?
I mean, I guess anybody who's sort of looking for um like a show with a couple of seasons to binge, like the beauty about watching this now is that we have most of the show already.
Hmm.
So a lot can be said for a good show that has like that never ended. Like they didn't just like, oh, one season, now we're done. Like so basically, if anybody wants like a good show to binge, and you have Netflix, go for it. I think it's so far. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, really. It's not. It's not that I'm not interested in it or anything. It's just I don't know.
Uh,
It's
I
kind
think
of
I'm
not what
gonna
I'm looking for right now.
sure.
I don't know.
I think this is what I was looking for, like something new to, well, not even that new,
Yeah.
but something to watch. And I think the size is just perfect because, well, speaking of which, I complain a lot when like hour-long shows actually are an hour long instead of 45 minutes because a lot of the time I feel like it drags out. To me, it didn't have that impression. I felt like, okay, no, this feels like each episode needs to be 55 minutes long.
Yeah.
So the fact that like each season is 6 hours and there's only 4 seasons, so that's like 24 hours. Like I feel like I could binge this on a week, uh, and not feel awful about myself. And it's probably gonna be a quality show. So I am probably gonna keep on watching, and maybe I'll let you know if it's any good.
Yeah. I think I might keep
Well, I
watching
mean,
as well.
I feel like it is good, but what I think of it carrying on.
Okay. I think I still need to. I think now that I finished Umbrella Academy, I'm gonna go back and finish Handmaid's Tale,
Ooh.
and then maybe come back to this. But I guess
Should we do a special about like catching up with like the recommendations and like
catching up with concessions and
like
confessions.
yeah, kind of like when I finally get to see City of God and Bone Tomahawk, like I don't know, like maybe
Don't
do
watch
like a
those on
catch
the
up.
same day.
Don't watch those on the
No,
same day.
yeah.
I
That would not be
will.
good. I guess we could probably move on to our next segment.
I watched you watch
Yup. So last week asked you to watch Netflix's Mudbound.
Mudbound, and
Yep.
I asked you to watch Lars and the Real Girl, available on Amazon Prime right now.
Yes.
Actually, I want you to start because
Okay.
I want to see.
I think I should start actually too. Let's
Cool.
switch it up
All
this
right,
week.
do it.
So Lars and the Real Girl is based on I think it's a book,
Okay.
but I'm not positive. The I guess central premise of this movie is that Lars is sort of socially,
Inept.
yeah, he's not really good at, talking to people, specifically women. So he orders it's a sex doll.
A
Yeah.
blow up doll.
Uh no,
It's more than
yeah, it's
just a
like one
blow
of
up.
those really expensive ones.
Oh wow.
Like, it's has
Okay, okay.
like rubber skin and like
Oh,
it's
it's intricate.
yeah.
It's not just rubber.
They even have like a little like moment in the movie they show the website he bought it off of, and like they have different models, and every like model has like a profile and like a little story behind like who they are, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. And basically it's just um like the journey of having the doll, and like uh if he you know if he's growing as a person, and by the end of the movie it's like, he's supposed to be something, I guess, more than whenever he started.
Hmm.
um I want to say one thing about this movie. I think it was shot on film,
Okay.
and it's so pretty.
Is it?
It's so pretty.
Oh
Like,
wow.
it has the right amount of like grain on like every frame. Like, it just looks so good.
That's a
Everything.
good selling point.
Yeah, I just I don't know what kind of film they use, but it makes a lot of the colors kind of pop really well. And they do a really nice job at one point, because there's a room in um so he lives in the garage outside of his old house, where
Okay.
his older brother and his wife, his pregnant wife, live actually. And he just moved out because he didn't want to be like around, like he just is not he doesn't want to be around people, so he moved outside. But their mom used to sleep in this room called the pink room, and this pink room looks so pretty. with film. Like it, this movie looks like it could be shot like in the like 19 like 80s almost or something like
Uh-huh.
that. Like that, it has that kind
With
of
the
film,
oh,
and it's
sounds
I'm
beautiful.
yeah. I mean, I love it. They have a lot of really good like exterior shots or like just things. It's just shot really well. Acting, Ryan Gosling is really, really, really good. Like I mean, he always brings it, but I think this was one of his first like breakout.
Yeah, like
Like,
after the Notebook,
yeah,
I feel.
I
Like, do
think
you
the
think this
yeah.
is like the anti-Notebook? So like people take him like a really serious actor, like even with like how this is the kind of opposite of a romance movie. Do you think
Um,
like that was kind of the play or something like that?
I'm not sure. I mean, you could probably look at the timeline of his career. This one definitely, I think, elevated him as an actor.
Okay.
Um, the like, call it? So like, I guess in this movie, he looks like he gained weight actually. Like I don't know if that was like intentional or like just he was just bigger. He looks bigger than he does in the Notebook.
Okay.
Um, which I don't mind. They're in like a cold place, so it's like I'm assuming you probably get bigger, stay warmer. I don't know.
That's an interesting like point to like point out, I
Well,
guess.
I think it's like he has a mustache throughout the entire movie, and for some reason, like mustaches they always draw my attention to people's like necks, like they're pointing down to like their necks almost, and he just looks a little bit chubbier than he does, and
Okay.
but it's fine,
He's
it's
still
fine.
handsome, probably.
I mean, yeah, you know,
Oh
Ryan
yeah.
Gosling. I always say, I ain't gay, but that dude, you know. But basically, uh, there's a lot of really great characters in this movie. You have a lot of really interesting moments. Uh,
What would you compare this to?
um,
Like would or like different elements that reminded you to this film of like other stuff? Like any particular filmmaker, writer, or I don't know, when it comes to the story, I guess, or like the storytelling perhaps?
it kind of felt like a, in a lot of ways, it kind of felt like a rom com, from like the '90s or something. Almost where like,
Mhm.
if she was a real person, like if she actually was a real girl, it would feel more of like, I don't know, like they shouldn't be together, like, or it's I honestly don't know what to compare this movie to, because I've never seen people use like sort of like a mental, like, it's not even, they don't even call it an illness in the movie. I think they call it like a delusion.
Okay.
So like I've never seen like a movie really use like a delusion, for their main character as like a plot device before. And
Interesting.
this movie, I feel like in some ways it doesn't really, like, I don't know, I feel like it could be more sensitive to certain aspects, but I think for the most part they handle his, like, presentation as like a person who is not, who's going through something internally.
Mhm.
I think Ryan Gosling did a really, really good job, like depicting like a struggling character, like internal emotions being projected outward. A lot of time he does like an eye, like he blinks a lot with his eyes, or like,
Some sort of twitch.
yeah, and it's not super subtle, but like they don't do it all the time, so it's, I don't know, well done. I can't really think of a movie I can compare this to. I'm sure I've seen something. I don't know. It's so, I don't know. The way they like handle the whole thing with the doll is very interesting. Like his brother and his, sister-in-law, they're really like really great. Well, they don't start off. The brother doesn't start off that way. The sister-in-law is arguably like the driving force for this character at one point, like for Lars, and, you know, just, I don't know. It's a sweet movie. I don't really know. It's lighthearted. I did tear up a little bit, so there you
Really?
go. Yeah, teared up a little bit. But pretty much, I don't know if what I can compare this to. Um, I guess it's like a romantic comedy without the romance.
Uh huh.
It's not even a comedy either. It's like
Yeah.
there's funny moments or there's nice moments. I would say that there's nice moments. There's
Mhm.
not really funny moments because I don't really want to laugh at anything in this movie.
Sure.
But it's really pretty. Acting is great. You know,
Camera work.
well, there's nothing like revolutionary about it, but the fact that they shot on film, I'm assuming they shot on film. I mean, it looks like film. I mean, good job. I'm
Mhm.
sure that was annoying to do,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't know. The camera works pretty good. There's no like in your face like flare shots like you'd see like in a Scorsese movie or something. Or it's just kind of very small. Like it.
Tamed and
Yeah,
subdued.
it's subtle. I think
Okay.
everything is subtle. I really enjoyed it.
Who would you recommend this to?
Literally anybody.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I have zero problems with saying that everyone should watch this movie. I mean, it made me feel good. Like I think it's nice to see a character go through like a personal journey and to just see like people around him supporting him and like helping him. I don't know. It was like there. I will say one thing. Um, there's no like antagonist. There's nobody really like being mean to him.
Mhm.
Everybody's kind of really understanding, and that's also sort of another plot point in the movie. But like, um, I'm kind of actually happy about that because
Sure. I
it.
mean, you don't need like a bully character.
Yeah,
I feel like the way you describe in this,
yeah,
it would have like dragged down the whole
yeah.
story. Like,
There's like awkward moments, but nobody's ever really like bullying him about everything. So like, I thought that was kind of nice because I don't want to see this person get bullied.
oh,
Oh, I like him, and
sure,
he's a nice
sure.
guy. He's a little weird at times, and he's not super great with like physical contact. Like it's
Hmm.
actually painful to him.
Oh wow.
Like it's again, I think that's all internal. But again, Ryan Gosling, great job, portraying that. But yeah, I don't know. It's everyone should watch it. I think you should just check it out if you have like a hour and 45 minutes or whatever.
Hmm.
You know, it's a nice movie. I think you could literally watch it with like your mom or your girlfriend.
Even with the whole like sex doll
It's
part.
like I think you could watch it with kids too,
Okay.
because it's not like
Obscene.
he doesn't do anything with it. He's just like he it kind of exists with it. He doesn't like actually have sex with it. Or
Okay.
as far as I know, he never had sex with it. Like that's not what the relationship was about. It was more about like um I feel like it was more about like combating your loneliness.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, it wasn't a physical.
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure he thought she was pretty. He says it a couple times, like you're really pretty or whatever. But I don't think anything like that happened. So as far as I know, it's a pretty tame movie. I don't know what the rating is. I'm sure it's like PG-13 or something. But
Really? Okay.
everyone go check it out. I thought it was great, and really nice, and I had a good time, and it made me feel good after I finished it. So
Nice.
yeah, there you go.
First recommendation I give you that actually makes you feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's time for me to talk about Mudbound.
Yes.
This movie was nominated in 2018's Oscars for like best cinematography, best adapted screenplay, and there's the keyword adaptation. This movie, okay, the basic premise, it's World War II, America, two families living on adjacent farms, one white, one black, and we follow both families. At first, there's no clear central protagonist. Like,
Hmm.
I'll get into
Interesting.
that a little bit later. This movie feels like reading a book. There's overarching narration from different characters' point of view, and to me, it felt like what they were redacting was like taking straight out of the book, and I wasn't a fan of that because when I watch a
Yeah.
movie, I want to feel like I'm watching a movie, not watching a movie adapting a book. You know, like that's the entire sensation all the time. Like everything, uh, it jumps in time a lot, like books do. Um, and
I wouldn't
then,
know. I don't really read that much.
well, and honestly, I felt like the dialogue. Okay, so the narration feels like book narration. You know, really stylized, very vivid language, very sophisticated language, uh, very specific chosen words. You know,
Mm.
uh, and sometimes the characters would kind of talk like that, and sometimes they talk like people actually talk like in that time period. So like to me,
Okay.
the dialogue was not consistent. Uh, but
Is that, do you think that's intentional or are they just messed up?
I think they messed up. Like
Oh.
I feel like okay, not ad lib, but like, it's like oh, people talk like this in this scene, but oh, we need to keep this line from the book because it's too good. Like like it
Mhm.
conveys too much. Well, it's like oh, but like that's not consistent. Like natural dialogue and book dialogue are so contrarian. Like they do not get along. I feel. Um, the cinematography was pretty,
Mm.
and I looked into it. Actually, I don't remember her name, but she was the first woman nominated for best cinematographer in the history of the
Oh
Oscars.
yeah.
Uh, and so,
But she
uh,
wasn't gonna win versus Deacons. There's no way for
no,
that
he
one.
was too good. But it's good. But I even looked into what they were trying to achieve, like a portrait, like a photograph of the period. Like they're not trying, like period pieces that they just look beautiful all the
Yeah.
time. Like they wanted like a picture. All of the camera work is handheld, so there's a lot of
Oh,
like
okay.
moving and
Is
back and
it
forth.
like super shaky or is it like
Not always,
you
but it's just like you can tell like a body is carrying it and moving it
okay.
around.
Okay.
Uh, Kind of documentary style, but I didn't feel like I was. I don't know. To me, that was distracting. I didn't feel. It felt like watching a movie that used handheld cams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like to me, a movie that does handheld seamlessly and you feel like you're actually part of the scene would be Y tu mamá también, a Cuarón movie from like 2001, I think. It's on Netflix. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, that's like it feels like you're watching a documentary on these three people. It was fantastic. I didn't feel like they achieved this in Mudbound, and I'm also gonna say I think I would have liked like a central character from each family because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters,
Mm.
uh, and in my mind the whole time I was thinking, I feel like they're better fleshed out in the book. I know it feels unfair that I'm talking so much about a book I haven't read, but it's the impression the movie gave me. Like it feels like uh, adapting a greater work per se.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you seen a series of unfortunate events?
no.
Okay, so the first movie with Jim Carrey, like the author is like the narrator
Okay.
and he's like sort of basically transitioning through everything like different locations or whatever. Is
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like that?
No, no, no.
Okay.
But like the narration is like what the characters are feeling. It's like
Oh.
I hate mud because mud always reminds me of stank, and that's what I did. I stank. Like I don't know. Like they be narrating stuff like that, like how they're feeling. Like
Mm.
both families lose. Well, not both families have a son that go to World War II.
Yeah.
Basically, they go to Germany. Uh, and so most of the movie is the families without the sons and then the little interactions because the white family owns the land. So uh, the the father of the white family would constantly ask for favors to the black father because he it's like well it's my land like I don't know and like prejudice and racism was pretty strong.
Yeah.
The the grandpa of the white family is played by Mike from Breaking Bad. I think
Yeah.
his name is Jonathan Banks. I
I
don't
think he
remember.
was nominated also for supporting.
Uh, I guess it was a good performance. I mean, it was functional, I guess, but like he played such a like disgustingly racist old man.
Oh,
Like it's been a while since I've wanted a character to die so bad. Like he was like pretty gross and
dang.
uh, really uncomfortable racism in the movie throughout, which is the point. It's supposed to make you feel bad about racism and stuff. Uh, and but by so let the movie's like 2 hours and 15 minutes long. By like
Mm.
hour and 20 minutes, both sons come back from war and they kind of become the protagonists, even though we didn't follow them much on. Like we did see a couple of scenes of their lives at the war, but like the first hour and 20 minutes was almost strictly following the mothers and the fathers per se.
Interesting.
Although, okay, I think saying mother and fathers is not fair because from the white family, it's actually the brother of the father. So like, there's two white brothers. One of them marries and has children. The other goes to war.
Okay.
Okay, so
Interesting.
but like still, they're uh, it's families, I guess.
Yeah.
When they come back, the two befriend each other, and like of course,
That's nice.
the black character, like he was treated so nice overseas because he was seen like a hero, and nobody even cared about his skin color. And coming back to Mississippi, of course, they mistreated him like so badly, except the other soldier. So they kind of befriend each other, and it's not really a redemption arc, to be
Okay.
honest. So I don't
But
feel
does it
like
ever like play it like it's gonna be a redemption arc?
no,
Okay, good. Because
never.
if they don't do that, then that's fine. Like if
No,
they're
they never did. It's more like the white soldier brother. He he was never prejudiced against anybody, especially a fellow soldier.
yeah.
And so they're just like kind of befriend each other. Uh, but like I said, like they kind of hijacked the movie in the midpoint because like before then it seemed like the the family left behind, like the story of those two families. But I don't know. It felt like this movie needed to commit a bit more and choose a more concise focus.
Hmm.
Like either make it about the mothers, make it about the fathers, make it about the sons who go to war. Uh, to me, this felt too broad. Just like a book would do, because like a book can get away with it, because structure is not necessary on a book, but in a
Yeah.
film, I definitely 100% believe that structure is key. Like this is structure, but I don't know. It just feels like stories come and go, and a lot of them don't really pay off, or they are not
So
set
you,
up.
oh, okay.
You know,
I don't think I don't know. I might watch it just to watch
it
the
feels
cinematography.
very long, like very
Oh
very long.
no. Oh God. I don't know. I like to. I mean, I'm a huge sucker for pacing. So when everybody in the world like says a bunch of mess about Justice League, people, I don't know why. For some reason, that movie was paced as well as I thought it was gonna be. So when I saw it, I was like, I wasn't bored. You know, I
I was
was.
so bored in Justice League.
Am I? Do you think I will be bored watching this movie?
You're probably gonna like if you wanna see all of it, it's probably gonna take a couple sittings. Like to be honest, I don't think you're
Boo.
gonna see it like you personally.
Yeah.
People listening, uh, your mileage may vary. You may be able to get into the character. Like to me, the most distracting aspect is how much this reminded me that it's a book adaptation. And so the entire time I was just thinking, it's probably done better in the book. It's probably done better in the book or whatever. Even though I haven't read the book, I heard it's a great book. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. They
Um,
always say the book is always better than the movie.
sure, but
So
like when you're watching, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, the book is the last thing you're thinking about. You know.
I'm not gonna lie. When I watch The Lord of the Rings, I am just 100% invested. Like,
Hmm.
and it more so in the second one because the second one is
I
just like
love the
a
second one.
2 hour action movie
Yeah.
basically. It's so good. But three is I mean I like three. I mean I like all of them. I think I would go two, three, one,
Or
and
like
then all the Hobbit movies.
yeah. Or even something like Moonlight, which is based on a play. Like
Yeah,
anything based on anything, like be it comic books,
I think
video
it's based
games.
on a play though that never came out.
But
Yeah,
Moonlight never feels like a play.
no.
It always feels like a movie.
I feel like okay, so the real reason why I mean I disagree a little bit because of the breaks in time. That
Sure,
feels like
yeah.
something a play would do versus
But like a lot of movies are also structured that way.
oh yeah, yeah. I know. Like it's just it felt for whatever reason more apparent in that one because I think it was
With the
also a jump in
subtitles, like
time.
yeah, every
Yeah, and like
time a new act
yeah,
started, there was a subtitle to
yeah.
it. But yeah, this movie, tough recommendation. I definitely see people who would enjoy it. Like it was just not for me because I was too distracted. I feel with people who just like stories about race, this is a fine movie that depicts race relations in the 40s and South.
Is it
Like
better than Green Book?
everything is better than Green Book.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, they are during the same period, more or less. But
Yeah.
like Green Book looks too pristine always, even
I
in
think
Deep
it's the
South.
camera they used,
It's
like, and
digital,
yeah,
right?
and nothing. They use film in
No, I'm
Mudbound.
pretty sure it's also digital, but maybe
They at
it's
least put like a
also the
filter.
shaky cam or maybe some
Okay, yeah,
filters. Like I don't know,
yeah,
it feels gritty. It feels like
yeah.
a little bit more like the South would be. I guess I never finished my thought about the shaky cam. Well,
My bad.
not shaky cam. But to me, if you want to catch like a portrait of a time period, like you gotta look at Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, which okay, maybe not that movie because that movie takes it a little too far. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've
Like
actually never really seen.
any Kubrick?
I actually don't know if I've ever seen a Stanley Kubrick
Not
movie.
even The Shining? No. Mm,
Nope.
okay.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket? No.
Nope.
Okay. Never seen a Kubrick
Yep.
movie.
I've heard of
Uh,
all of them.
sure. Uh, Barry Lyndon takes it too far and looking like a photograph, but like this movie, I don't know. Try watching. I'm actually gonna say the first 20 minutes, and if you're not into it, you can probably skip because
Okay.
even then, like the story begins kind of focusing on the white family, and then the black family is introduced, but then we're back on the white family, and there's I don't know, it just seemed like the screenplay should have been more focused.
Yeah.
That's what I would have liked.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess I might check it out. I guess we'll see. So I guess we'll move on to our next week's recommendations for each other and the thing we're gonna watch together.
Sure.
So together we're gonna watch Russian Doll
The
on Netflix.
Netflix original series. I think this is an original series in the
I
sense that
also think it is an original series.
it's nowhere else to
Yeah.
be found but Netflix.
Yeah.
Russian Doll. I think it's
First
a
two
Seth
episodes.
Rogen production or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Interesting. Um.
and I'm gonna ask you to watch Paddleton on Netflix.
Okay. I'm intrigued because I actually a huge Ray Romano fan.
Okay.
I want him to succeed, and I feel like he hasn't done anything. He's in The Big Sick, and he's really good in The Big Sick.
Okay.
Like
I
like
still I'm yet to see that movie.
that movie is so good. I feel like it's underappreciated, but so good. Like I mean,
Okay.
it was, I thought it was awesome. And I'm gonna ask you. Speaking of, The Big Sick is an Amazon Prime or an
Hmm.
Amazon original. Speaking of Amazon originals, I'm gonna ask you to watch the first two episodes of Sneaky Pete.
Ooh, Sneaky Pete.
I don't know anything really about it other than that Bryan Cranston is remotely involved and that he's in it a little bit. But
Okay. I
you know,
like Bryan Cranston.
me too. Daddy Cranston can do no
Yeah.
wrong. Actually,
Hal for life.
oh yeah, they need to come back with that. I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true, but I heard a rumor they're like trying to bring it back.
Oh, Malcolm in the Middle.
If they
That
did
would be
like
the
a
second
one season
coming,
like
honestly.
mini series or like just
Oh,
like a special event, like oh my god, that'd
that'd
be
be
crazy.
magical.
And we will. I mean, at some point, one of us. I think I will actually be uploading the Captain Marvel review.
Probably.
Um,
If we're not able to figure out a way to
yeah,
upload it this weekend.
I will. That's our next thing, and I guess we'll get that out. And otherwise, we'll catch y'all later, and you'll have